Aloha mai kako, my name is Kaapuwai, and today I'll be doing my final presentation on general mental illness within adolescents. So, mental illness, what is it? According to evolving definitions of mental illness and wellness, they define it as conditions that affect cognition, emotion, and behavior. So, this can be things such as depression, schizophrenia, autism, or even ADHD. When the topic of mental health is brought up, there's a huge stigma around it. Mental health is very much taboo within certain societies and cultures. Especially in Native Hawaiian culture, you'll never see their conversation about mental health, mental issues, or mental illness because it is very much taboo. And it's seen as something that is non existent and it should be kept under the rug or as hush hush because there are quote unquote bigger problems in the world than you feeling depressed. When in actuality, in the same peer reviewed article, they state that the informal response has fostered a parallel transition from a focus on the stigma of mental illnesses to the recognition that mental health is important to overall health. And as you can see here, Children's Health has provided us 5 ways to end mental health stigma. And continuing on, the causes or things that lead to mental illnesses within adolescents that linger into their early adulthood would definitely have to be ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences, which can cause toxic stress. Toxic stress can range from abuse, neglect, or even household dysfunction, which looks like experiencing or witnessing domestic violence in the home or even things such as chronic neglect. I think one of the major causes to adolescents having mental illnesses would definitely be the people who they surround themselves with. You know, at that age, the power of influence over them is incredible. They often fall into the wrong crowd, and people's energies does have quite an effect on us. Little do we know. So, continuing on, what are the short and long term effects if mental illness or your mental health is left untreated? This does stem from the unaddressed childhood trauma because of the ACEs. So it can definitely leave you with trust issues, attachment issues, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, which all does have a strain on the brain and it can cause delayed emotional processing. In addition to that, it can lead you to the inability to make clear decisions. So there's the possibility of the misuse of alcohol or drugs or even impulsiveness. Continuing on, joining forces for children have provided us the lifelong and generational risks of toxic stress that ranges from behavioral, physical, and mental health. So my overall purpose of my project was to really shed light on mental health awareness because it is beyond important to take care of yourself. Feeding into your mind, body, and spirit is good for you, and asking for help is more than okay. Educating yourself and others is the best way to raise awareness on the stigma surrounding mental health and mental illnesses overall. And some of the resources that are available to us would definitely be hotlines. There's suicide prevention hotlines in the US. You can also have therapy, which can range from psychoanalytical therapy or medication or communities or community outreaches or even group supports. And I know that one of the biggest things in our lives today and technology would definitely be social media. That's definitely one way that we can raise awareness and educate ourselves. We can use that as a way to share positivity. But I was just reminded today that May is actually Mental Health Awareness Month. And photo credit to Ariana Grande and sharing the resources. One thing that really stuck out to me here was where she said the only way to destigmatize anything is to talk about it. I'm a strong believer in having conversations that are needed because this is the first step in being able to work towards being better about this issue. So it isn't something that's taboo or has stigma around. She also shares some substance use disorder resources, Black mental health resources, which is so incredibly important because of right now we see so much racism and systemic oppression happening. So just being able for these people and individuals to have that resource and outlet is more than important. And continuing on, she also shared LGBTQ and Latinx, Indigenous resources, which are all very important. And just to conclude everything, there is power in vulnerability. Being vulnerable is the first step in the direction to healing and being a better you for you. And with that being said, this is my references. Thank you so much for staying tuned into my presentation, and this is the first step in bringing awareness and having a clear and honest conversation about mental health that is very much needed. Thank you.